I'm going to go through my working stash of Prismacolor. This is for January of 2026. So when I sit on my couch and I do coloring with Prismas, these are the ones that I am using all the time. So it's a 150 in which I took out the 3 neons and the 3 metallics, which I never use. And of course, before this video, you would have seen the Blick order from Open Stock, and I've already made some replacements. So these are the blues. Then the light colors, I've already replaced the pale sage from Open Stock. And then these are the browns and the purples and violets, the remaining ones. They're in 2 different places. And white, which it had to go somewhere, of course. So I'll put these back. Then for the reds and the oranges and the pinks, I didn't have to replace anything yet. I replaced from Open Stock the orchid and amethyst. I replaced the lilac and lavender, which are no longer being made. I was using them because I have them from sets that I've bought. Yeah, so those are the greens, and I see one that's already getting small for the greens. And then I also got some Open Stock for the grays, but that's for a second copy of the 18 grays that I have ready for when I use up these. I usually arrange the colors by how much I've used, just a little thing that I do, but not for the grays because I want to know where each one is. And so these are arranged correctly from 10% to 90% warm, French, cool. Then the purples there. Yeah, that's it. So that's my working, I call them my working 144. Then also, as I work through, actually sometimes even before I get to the 150, I've got my smaller ones that I'm not ready to retire yet. Okay, so I've got this set of Prismas. They're almost there. And as you can see, I use a lot of the light colors in my drawings, a lot more than the darker ones. Then, of course, now I'm really going outside the working stash to the ones that have already been basically retired. These 3 were retired today from the Open Stock order. And so these are done. These are basically, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. Maybe I'll make some wall art someday and put all the used Prismas just like arranged in a cool way, like in a way that I can frame them. I've been thinking about that. Okay, so those are the used up Prismas. And I showed the actual like working stash. Then I'm going to show what I have as like my Open Stock. Which is significant because I love Prismas. And yeah, I still needed to do that Open Stock order. There were a few colors light colors that I was like, I know I'm going to use them a lot. And so even if I have secondaries here, I didn't have any pale sage. So I was like, okay, it's a good time. It's a good time. And chartreuse, which I'm always wanting. So these are really my seconds that I go through. And I also have a tray in here for things that I don't use. Colors that I've bought in used sets where the pencil's not, the lead is actually moving, so I'm not going to use that. And then your metallics and your neons. And then of course I'm beginning to put the lilacs and lavenders here. These are 2 that I've used a lot earlier in the year in 2025, and these were the ones that I was using recently, but now they're replaced by the Blick order, the orchid and the amethyst. Browns, which of course get used very little, and there will never be a Blick order for browns. Grays, which I love, and so with the Blick order, you see them right here, some of the ones that I ordered. Now I've got a full 18 as backup to the ones that I'm using, and some duplicates also for grays, those 3, but not that many. So that's my second row of grays. Then your purples and violets. These also are the types of pencils that will never be in a Blick order. I just don't use them as much. So I'll be usually If I do Blick orders, it'll be for these light colored pencils, and these will never be in a Blick order. And then some darker greens also. Okay, so that's really my secondary. And then the final backup to all the backups is a 150 that I got a pretty good price for early in 2025. They came in as opened, quote unquote, used. The set is brand new. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't see the lilac and lavender. This set is old enough, I think, to have been one of the ones that had lilac and lavender. The set is completely brand new, so this is going to be also my open stock. Look at all those grays, perfect. And then, but I was like, wait a minute, I know. And I was looking through, by now I know enough about the colors that I know. I don't think there's any dupes, but there were 2 dupes, and I found them. And I'll show them to you after I do this. So there's these other trays, and then your greens and your blues. So that's a 150 that would otherwise have been spanking brand new, except for these 2. So somebody bought this 150 or had it or was gifted or something, and they were going to sell it, and they took out the lilac and the lavender, and they put in a colorless and a white. So this is the sort of thing that will happen when you buy an opened set. But I love buying open sets because they're a lot cheaper. I think I paid like 60 cents a pencil, 65 cents a pencil for this set. So I'm very happy with my purchase. And I actually have another 150 for which I paid 60 cents a piece, in which I'm sure I'm going to have some use and some missing. And I'm totally happy with that because the cost is very low. Now, of course, the problem will always be with buying used 150s is that I'm going to wind up with 20 violets. And so I'll have to be careful about that. And that's where the Blick open stock orders will necessarily have to come in because I use the light colors a lot more. So there you have it. That's my stash, January 2026.